Good morning, crafty friends. Katrina the Crafty Cataloger here, January 15th, 2025. Yet again, I'm starting a video out by apologizing for it being so long since my last crafty update, which I believe was in September. I wish I had a good excuse, but I don't. It was on my to-do list many times over the last 3 or 4 months. Specifically at the end of October, and then again at the end of December, and then for the last 3 weeks. And for whatever reason, I always seem to end up having other things thrown at me that I need to do, or find other things that I feel I need to do before I can sit down and do this. And then I don't get to it, and it frustrates me. I need to do better about that. As I said, today is Wednesday. Normally, Wednesdays are my late day. I work usually from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. I am the closing librarian. But yesterday, along about 2 or 2:30, I got an unpleasant yet pleasant surprise. We were told that the library was closing basically immediately, although I did end up staying till about 3:40, and that we would be closed for the next 7 days because unfortunately earlier this week someone found a bug in the computer lab, and when it was looked at by a professional, it was determined that it was a bed bug. So they came in yesterday, and I guess they were searching the library, and they did find evidence in the computer lab, which thankfully I never spend time in there. And they did find some evidence, I think, in one other area of the library, so they were going to spray and do all their exterminator stuff, and that meant that we needed to be closed. So I have an unexpected vacation, which I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to having a few days to do whatever. I jokingly told my coworkers that I was going to craft like it was my full-time job. So let's hope I can stick to that. I did film this last night. Listen to me. How old am I? I'm old. I recorded this last night. When I put it on my computer this morning to edit it, it was horrible. The quality was horrible. It was very blurry. And I think I know why. I tried filming it, recording it last night, standing up. I thought that would be different and easier because I could put everything on my big work table, workbench, but I think I moved too much. So today I sat back up, sitting in my chair. Hopefully this will keep me from moving around so much that the camera can't stay focused. I'm going to pause for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, so quick update. In my last video, I told you that we had moved and that we were all settled in, and we are. And I'm happy to report that we are once again a one-house family. We finally were able to close on the old house on January 3rd. So that is a huge relief. And now we are waiting for spring to come when we will build our garage barn that we need to build so that my husband can park inside like the rest of us. Thankfully, all the stuff that had to come over still from the other house that I mentioned in the last video that was still in the barn, we did manage to get all of it in the garage here and in the barn. And there is a small like tool shed type barn, like it's big enough to drive a lawnmower into, and then it has some room on the sides, but that's it. We were able to cram everything in there or along the sides of the garage, so my son and I are both able to still park in the garage, thankfully. Unfortunately, my husband can't, but his truck just doesn't fit. It's just too big. I don't feel like I've worked on a whole lot in the last few months, and that may also be why I kept putting off doing a video, which again, I need to get over that. I need to just do a video regardless. Maybe then they wouldn't be so long. But I will show what I have been working on, and I will talk to you about what I hope to accomplish in this coming year. And I will point out a few changes and modifications that I've made to the craft room. I still am overall very happy with how this room came out, and I am finding it to be a very pleasant place to spend time and get things done. But I did do a couple of upgrades that have made it even better. So as usual, let's start off with cross stitch. So the big thing that I was working on, and I had showed some of it in my last video, was the lighthouses. And I did finish all of the lighthouses, and I was able to get them put into a scrapbook, which I gifted to my mother for Christmas. And I, of course, don't have it in my possession anymore, but I did take a video with my phone of the scrapbook, and I will insert that here. I have to rewatch it. I may do a voiceover and not use the original audio. We'll see. But here's the video of the lighthouse scrapbook. So because I know that I am gifting this tomorrow and I'm not going to have time to film a Flosstube video before I gift it, I am going to do a quick flip through of this project that I've talked about for the last several months and show you how it turned out. So, lighthouses of northern Lake Huron and the Mackinac Straits. And I'm going to try to do this, but I will preface this by I'm recording this on my phone and I'm standing above this to try to get the best possible picture. This first page, I found a poem called The Lighthouse by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It's quite a long poem, but, you know, it took up the page, and I thought it looked nice. So every lighthouse has an information sheet on the left and then the stitched piece on the right. So here's Point of Bars Lighthouse and the stitched piece. This was this particular one was a separate kit, and it came with its own fabric. That's why it's stitched on blue and all the rest are stitched on white. Tawas Point, which happens to be my personal favorite lighthouse because Tawas has a lot of good memories for me. And there's the stitched piece. Sturgeon Point. Middle Island. Old Presqu'île Lighthouse. And there's the stitched piece. Presqu'île Lighthouse. This one reminds me of Green Gables for some reason. 40 Mile Point. Poe Reef. This is my favorite one, I think, that I stitched. I just think it's a cool looking lighthouse. And I have no idea what that is. I could not get it to come out. Sheboygan Crib. I just noticed that one doesn't have a date. All the rest of them have a date. That's weird. Oh no, all the rest of them don't have a date, I guess. I lied. Round Island Lighthouse. I wonder if some of the book, one book had light dates and the other book didn't. I didn't even notice when I was stitching those. Mackinac Point. White Shoal. Skilligalee Isle Ogalay, also known as Ile Ogalay Light, I guess. I'm not sure on the pronunciation of that. And then this last page is just an information sheet explaining some of the characteristics. Like here it says the characteristics of this light is that it flashes every 5 seconds. And so this sheet back here just explains what some of the abbreviations and things mean. It's probably more information than anybody cares to have. And then I just included the patterns because I don't really need them, and so we'll leave them with the booklet. But anyway, that is the Lighthouse scrapbook that I made for my mom, and I will be gifting that to her tomorrow. My mother seemed to really enjoy that, and I did get an email a couple of days later from her thanking me again for all the work that went into that, and she did notice that on the one page for the Tawas Point Lighthouse there was a picture of her and I there, because we end up going there every summer. And the last few years I don't think I did this year, and I should have. I've been trying to take a selfie with her. I'm not a very good selfie taker, but you know, the older you get, the more you realize your parents aren't going to be around forever, and perhaps you should take pictures with them more often. And so that picture that I included on that page was a couple of years old, but she did point out that she thought that was a nice little thing to find, was that picture of the two of us. The rest of the things I have to share in cross stitch are basically now moving forward into 2025. So for 2025, I am going to do Whip Go, and so I started off the year doing my what was called for Whip Go. I am going to participate in Whip Go, and I am going to pick up, you may remember that a couple of years ago, I think it was, Harmony from Cornerstone Stitchery had started a challenge in one of the Michigan Facebook groups. It was Traveling the USA, and she would spin a wheel and pick a different state every month, and basically you figured out the mileage from your house to that state capital, and that was how many stitches you needed to put in. And for whatever reason, that challenge had to end, but I picked it up and was continuing it on my own. Well, right about the time we moved, the state that came up was Hawaii, so you can imagine that was a lot of stitches, and I basically just, that seemed to stall me. I'm going to pick that back up and try to continue and finish that out. So I am going to also be putting some of my stitches towards that challenge, but I am also not limiting myself to 1 month. I am, from here on out, I'm just going to, whatever state comes up, I'm going to figure out the number of stitches. I'm going to work on it till I reach that goal. Then I'm just going to do a new, pick a new state. Because obviously Hawaii is going to take me way longer than 1 month. And I can see that my battery is getting low, so I'm just going to change it right now before it dies on me. Sorry about that. I should have just changed that battery from the beginning, because I knew I had recorded last night and I used that battery, and I should have known I would have been half dead. So anyway, here is my Whip Go board for 2025. For those of you who may not remember, or maybe I've never mentioned this before, a couple of years ago I started doing digital planning. So instead of having a paper planner, I have, I do my planner on my iPad. So just so you can get an idea, I don't think there's anything super personal on here. So like, I mean, it looks like a planner, and I can decorate it with digital stickers, and like down here I have, and I can move this from week to week. That's what's really nice, is I can just like select it, copy and paste it. One of the boxes is my reading goals for the month, and the other box is my crafty goals for the month. And so I can just kind of grab it and keep moving it ahead week to week. Well, I copy it from week to week, so any notes I make on it go with it. It's very handy. But anyway, in my digital planner, I have my Whip Go board. And you could see on there that I already have 2 check marks because I already have January's things done. I got fancy this year and I made my Whip Go boards in Canva, and I will talk a little bit more about that later. So the first thing that was called was Pandemic, and the goal was to put in 500 stitches. I think I have a picture of that from before, and I will put that right here. And I have completed the 500 stitches, and so this is what it looks like now. Mostly I was working in this area over here. I still really enjoy working on this. This is a great piece when you don't really want to think that much, I guess, because, you know, it's just one color, and aside from following the pattern, you don't have to constantly be looking for new colors, etc. This is on, I think it's 18 count, that I hand dyed myself following Jen Upton's video that she has posted on her Flosstube channel. And I cannot remember what color that floss is. I want to say 815, but that's probably not right. And because I know that I am horrible at remembering to share the details of what kind of fabric and what kind of floss, etc., please know that in the description box below there is a Google Doc that is mostly filled out with that information. I do every once in a while try to go through and add more if I can find it. So if you ever want to know anything and I didn't share, because I know I'm bad at that, look in that Google Doc and hopefully you'll find what you're looking for there. The second Whip Go goal was to do one of my Christmas ornaments. If you've been with me for a while, you know that every year I stitch Christmas ornaments for 2 of my nieces and my 2 sons, and then also by default my daughter-in-law, because, you know, well, actually it started out as doing it for my daughter-in-law when they were just dating, and then now they're married, so it's for them. So this year I am using this pattern called Reindeer Games by Brenda Gervais. It came with 3 patterns in here, and this year I am doing this one, Santa riding on the reindeer, standing on the reindeer. I don't know what he's doing. And this came as a kit, and in the kit you received the pattern for the 3, and you also received these ornament it's wooden ornament round things. And I need to check in with Colette at Stitch in Time, because she was going to see if there was a way to purchase those separately, because I need obviously at least one more for this year, and then my plan is to use the other 2 patterns in this group for the next 2 years, so I need more of them. Anyway, I am pleased to say that I have 1 complete. It turned out pretty cute. I don't know. I think this is, well, it's whatever was called for. So what was called for? I want to say, oh, this, no, that can't be right. Really? This says 9 by 9 piece of 40 count. Did I really do 40 count? Because I would think that would be way too tiny for these old eyes. Which, let's talk about these. Can we? Not liking them. I don't like that my glasses are wearing glasses because I wear contacts. I do have an eye appointment in February, and I hope she can fix them because they've gotten really bad. Maybe it's 40 count. It's done 1/2, so it could be. He's cute. I have 3 more of those to go, but I am pleased to say that both of my Whip Go goals for January have been completed. So then I'm also going to try to get back to my full coverage rotation where I do 2 months and then switch and do 2 months on another one and then do switch and do 2 months on another one and then go back to the first one, so that by the end of the year each one of my 3 full coverage pieces has received 4 months worth of work spread out over the year. And I think I'm gonna aim for about 1,500 stitches a month. I think that should be doable, but we shall see. So I am working on Mini Village Bookstore, which is by Haid, and the artwork is by Randall Spangler. And here's a picture of what it will look like in the end, and a picture of, I believe, where it was the last time you would have seen it. This is on 18 count, easy count, or whatever they call it. And here's where it is now. I have been working mostly here, trying to fill all this in, and then I'm going to work that way. Sorry, it's kind of heavy because it's still attached to my Lowry stand piece. I didn't want it, I just took it off to bring it in here. That is where that one is. And so hopefully when I come back next, which I'm hoping to do at the end of February or very first part of March, I will hopefully have that filled in a lot. Hopefully another 1,500 stitches. And then when I made other goals in case I did get beyond. So other crafty goals, my crafty goals were the pandemic 500 stitches, Mini Village Bookstore, the ornament, and that was really all I had for cross stitch, except for I wanted to start a piece for my niece. Where did I lay that? Sorry, I tried to be organized. We found out at Thanksgiving. Oh, sorry, I didn't bring it over here. We found out at Thanksgiving that my niece is expecting, and because Aunt Katie makes stuff, Aunt Katie's gonna make something for the baby. And so this is what they picked. She does want some modifications. She wants the nest to be brown. I'm thinking a variegated thread would look really nice there, and she wants these leaves to be darker. She said she was open to different colors for the birds, so I have to figure that out yet. But I just got this pattern in the mail earlier this week. This is called Silly Birds Birth Record. Designed by Ursula Michael. It's put out by Imaginating. It is flyer number 2907. I'm thinking this should be a fun stitch. I am planning on doing it on, I want to say they did it on 18 count? No, 14 maybe. I think they did it on 14 count. They give design sizes for 14 and 18 count. I think I'm going to do it on either 28 or 36. I'm going to do it over 2 instead of 1, and I'm going to do it on opalescent. Unless the cross stitch, I'm going to go to the cross stitch store and buy fabric. Unless she has opalescent Ada, then I might do it on 18 count. So I'm going to do that. That is another goal, is to get that started this month. And then I decided, when I was doing so well, that I would pull out my WOW piece. I have 2 WoW, and that stands for World of Warcraft. It's a computer game that I do not play, but my husband and son do play. And my husband never really, I mean, if I show him something, he'd be like, oh, that's nice, but he doesn't ever get excited about anything. And he found these patterns online and he thought they were so cool. So I bought them, and I'll probably end up stitching both of them twice, but here's the one I'm currently working on. And then hopefully I have a picture of where it was the last time you would have seen it. And now it's probably pretty close to where you saw it last time. I have been working in filling in this. It's at 88% actually. It doesn't seem like I have a lot left, but yet I think there's almost 2,000 stitches in that last 10%. So I think this is mirrored over here, and then there's some stuff to finish up in here. So I'm actually kind of hoping I don't know if I can finish this in January, but perhaps it can be finished in February if I use this as when my other stuff is done, I'm going to pick this up and try to finish it. So those are the things I'm working on. My plans for cross stitch include continuing to do Mini Village Bookstore and that, and getting the baby piece started. And then, you know, we'll go from there. Then it'll be February and we'll have to see what new numbers are called. So in the area of cross stitch, I did get some really cool Christmas gifts. I don't remember who showed this on their video. I almost want to say Jackie Cross My Stitches, but I'm not sure if it was her or not. Someone showed this on their video, and I went to Amazon and put it on my wish list. It has very nice handles that are long. It did come in different like designs, fabric designs, but I liked this one. And this reminds me of the Trapper Keepers we used to have back in the day. You open it up. The cover has a zippered pocket, and then there are, let's see, 2, 4, 6. There are 6 sleeves that all have various pockets. They're not all the same, but they all have pockets and zippers and all kinds of things. So I was thinking this would be really nice to have for when we go camping. Instead of taking, these are my favorite project bags. I think those fabric ones are beautiful that everyone has, but honestly, these are my favorite. I think because even though they're all different colors, they still look relatively uniform stacked up on my shelf, and they're all the same size, and I don't know, they just work well for me. But I'm thinking when we go camping, it would almost be better to take the projects I want to take camping with us and put them in their own sleeve in here, and then just take one thing. And also, you know, if I were to go to the Stitchy meetups like in Saginaw again, this might be, if I want to take more than one project, this might be useful for that as well. So I put that on my Amazon wish list, and my son and his wife bought me that for Christmas, which I was very excited about. And my husband bought me the white rolly, I'm going to call it a Michael's cart, but it came from Amazon. I actually owned one. It was gray, and it's still in this house. It's downstairs. When we moved in, I was like, oh, I don't think I need that anymore in my craft room. And my son was like, well, I could use that for some of my server computer stuff. So I'm like, oh, you can have it. And then I decided I did want it after all, because I am going to make myself a portable ironing board. I actually own an ironing board and a full-size iron. I iron every week. I blame my mother for this because my mother ironed my clothes growing up, and now I don't like to wear them not ironed. Like, I don't iron everything. I don't iron jeans. I don't iron sweatshirts and t-shirts, but like my work clothes, they don't feel like they fit right if they haven't been ironed. And I've never mastered the art of taking the clothes out of the dryer and putting them on a hanger and having them look good. They don't to me. And so I do iron our work clothes every week. And I do it here in this room, but the ironing board takes up a big amount of space in here. So when I'm sewing and I need to, specifically quilting, and I need to iron between making each block, it's like this ironing board is taking up a huge amount of space. So I saw this video online of these portable ironing boards that people are making, and I'll put a clip, just a picture clip here of what I'm talking about. And so I have been collecting all the stuff to make it, but basically the one that she made, she can set right inside the top of this 3-tiered rolling cart. So I found the feet at Menards. I have 4 of these, and I have the batting that she calls, you know, that she said you have to put, and I have the ironing board fabric. And then Monday in the mail, I received the fabric that I purchased to make my ironing board out of. Sorry, I'm trying not to crinkle it too much, but I thought this was really cute fabric. So I'm going to cover the ironing board will be covered with this. So in the end, I'm actually not mad that I gave him my cart and that I ended up getting a new one, because the new one is white, which means it matches my room better. And I think it's gonna look really cute with this fabric. And then I have one other thing that I'm gonna make with this fabric, which I'll share when we get to the quilting and sewing segment. So I got the cart, and I feel like I got something else stitchy. I tend to, when I see things and I think, oh, that's really cool, I like that, especially if it's like a $25 to $35, $40 item, I tend to be like, I can wait, and I'll put that on my Amazon wish list, because then my family has things they can buy me that aren't super expensive, but I actually want, and I would prefer to get gifts of things that I actually want, not just things that they think I want. Well, one of the things on my Amazon wish list is a link to my 1-2-3 stitch wish list. And I think that my youngest son followed that link, and I think he just started throwing things in the cart off my wish list until he got to a certain dollar amount. And I'm not complaining. I don't even know. We'll have to count here how many patterns. I would guess there's 15 to 20 patterns here. So I have plenty to work on for a long time. So he got me this one, Do Re, which is part of the Silver Creek Samplers Sing a Sampler series. He got me Do Re Mi, Fa So. No, Mi Fa So La. And so I'm missing Ti Do. I don't know if I didn't have it on the list or if he just missed it. So I have to buy the 4th one, and I'm going to do that soon just so that I make sure I have it. So there's 3 there, plus 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we're up to 8 here. Then he bought me this. This is also a series, and he missed, I don't know if he missed one or if I didn't have one on the list. So I'm going to purchase this one also, just so I make sure I have it. The Lizzie Kate yearbook series. So I got January, February, March, April, oh, I didn't notice that. I'll show something in a minute. May, June, July, August, and then he missed, or I didn't have on the list, September, October, and here's November and December. I have a thing out near the door where we come in that my sister-in-law gave me years ago, and it has it started out, it was Velcro, and I've changed it to magnets. It has different like wooden things that you stick on it. So like right now there's a snowman on it. I think I have an Easter bunny for Easter. I have a pumpkin. So I was thinking actually that I could make these, and I could actually, instead of putting the wood things on there, I could put these on every month. Although this is really cute. On the back side, they have a version where it's like all together. But I don't know. I have to think that through. I probably will stick with just doing them separately, and then I can just switch them out every month. So I got that. And then he got me part of this series. Why am I doing that? I already unzipped it. So that was 8. Here's 10. So we got this one, which is Little Red Barn. It's part of the Farmhouse Christmas series by Little House Needleworks. And Horsin' Around. This is another one I probably should go through and make sure that there aren't more in the series that I would like, and then just maybe purchase them so that I, so they don't disappear. So what did I say? I was up to 10. And then I think these are the rest. No, those two. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, 17 patterns. Love that boy. Love that boy. So this one is Little House Needleworks, The Bookshelf. Love this. Can't wait to do this one. Yep. My librarian heart loves this. Silver Creek Samplers, Give Greatly. Your greatness is not in what you have, but what you give. That's cute. That'll be a nice winter piece. Country Cottage Needleworks Camping Trip. I think that one might end up in the camper. Lizzie Kate, Official Snow Guide, number 114. Lizzie Kate, A Good Marriage. Primrose Cottage Stitches, Welcome to the North Pole. Love this. This is so cute. Welcome to the North Pole. Train. Really like that. And the last one was by Little Dove Designs. It's called Friendship Sampler. Side by side or miles apart, good friends are always close to your heart. I feel like I might have to stitch this one several times. I feel like I need to make this for some people. So yes, that was a great package to open on Christmas. I was chuckling. My family jokes, they tease me. I mean, they're not being mean when they say this. They'll be like, oh, just go play with your threads. And they just know that that's my thing. That's what I enjoy. So anyway, I think that wraps up cross stitch. No, it doesn't. Hold, please. There's a girl I follow on Instagram, and her name is Rachel. I don't remember what her Instagram name is. I'll try to make sure to link it below. And I don't know how I started following her, but at some point we discovered that we had a connection. Like, she was originally from this area, and she knew who my boss was. Her name is Rachel. She now lives up north in northern Michigan, somewhere like, when I say north, I mean like up in here, not up in here. Anyway, she had been knitting something. I don't remember now what she knit, but I commented on it. I was like, oh, that's beautiful yarn. And she's like, oh, well, I have quite a bit left, and I don't really have anything I want to use it for. Would you like it? And I was like, well, sure, that'd be great. I thought that was very generous of her. So she sent me this yarn. Isn't it gorgeous? I just love that color. Red is my favorite. Red, blue, and purple. Blue and purple are tied for a very close second, but I just love red. And I love that this has like different. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but I was very pleased with that. And I realized that's kind of more of a knitting thing than a cross stitch thing, but in the package, then she's like, I wanted to include a little something extra, which was totally not necessary, but thank you so much. 3 pieces of cross stitch fabric. I'm not sure what size this is. The fabric came with this card, so I'm pretty sure that it is Fortnite Fabrics fabric, but it doesn't say what size it is or what colors they are. I think it might be 40 count. It looks pretty tiny. This one is a pink. There we go. It's a pink mottled. Nice fabric. There's that one. And then I love this one. This one's probably my favorite. It's blue and purple mottled. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And they're nice size pieces of fabric. I didn't measure them, but they're a good size. So there was that one. And then there was a third piece. This one is beautiful as well. It's a purple. It's an opalescent. I think you can see the opalescent a little bit there. Yeah, beautiful. I just, you know, some people are just so kind. It was a beautiful thing for her to send me that. So I did get that Stitchy kindness, and I appreciate that a lot, and I look forward to finding something to stitch on all of those pieces of fabric. But that wraps up cross stitch. Almost a half hour later. We still have knitting, quilting, paper crafting, books. Be right back with knitting. Last time we chatted, I was working on a shawl. I am still working on said shawl. This is called I think it's called Pink Graphite, designed by Melanie Rice. This was a kit that I purchased at the quilt and yarn shop in Newaygo this summer when my mom and I were doing the shop hop. And I haven't made a ton of progress on that. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this isn't a progress keeper. I think that I just stuck that on there so I know which side was front. So I need to move that so that next time we will know, but I mean, I've made a decent amount of progress. I don't work on it a ton, but I have worked on it some. So I have been working on that. And then, because I found out that I'm going to be a great aunt, I thought I should pull out that blanket that I started ages and ages and ages ago. And it's been sitting in my office at work, and I would pull it out every once in a while at lunch and work on it, but I hadn't pulled it out in a while, so I decided I'm going to pull that out, and I'm not making any promises, but if I can get this done, I will be giving this to my niece. So I actually have a decent amount. I mean, it's pretty long already. I just love this yarn. I think it's beautiful. It's a Lion brand baby yarn. Just, I don't think it has a name other than pastels. And this is a feather and fan pattern, which is pretty easy. It's a 6-row repeat. It's also pretty forgiving because I know that I've screwed it up more than once. You can usually get it back on track, or you can fudge it enough that I should try to lay it out. I don't think it's too wonky. If so, I know that my niece won't mind. My niece and her husband are lovely people, and her husband in particular, I've told several people this, you know, he's a 20-something guy. So, you know, you would think that he'd be like, oh, wow, that's nice. But the day after they got married, the picture I got of after they opened the cross-stitch piece I made them was a picture of her husband holding it with the biggest grin on his face. And every time I send them one of their Christmas ornaments, I get a picture like that with her husband. I mean, she loves it too, and she tells me that, but the fact that he is the one who has the huge grin on his face and is just like, and when I started showing them some baby cross stitches, he was like, oh, I like that one. I mean, he warms my heart because he actually, you can tell that he actually loves getting these homemade gifts, and that just makes me feel really good. Let's move on to quilting. I believe in my last update I showed you the autumnal wall hanging that I made and I was going to hang up in our new home. But if I didn't, I'm going to put a picture of it right here. It was a panel I purchased this last summer when we were doing the shop hop, and I just added a couple of borders, and I did get it done, but it's not completely done. It's hanging on the wall right now. It's basically just the quilt top, and I have not taken it to be quilted because I figured if I took it, she'd have it for a month and then autumn would be over. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's been hanging up, and it hung up through Christmas, and it's still hanging up because I don't have anything to put in its place just yet. But I'm working on that. So unfortunately, the quilt shop we had here in Mount Pleasant went out of business in, I think it was late November. It wasn't because she wasn't doing well. I believe that someone from downstate purchased the strip mall that she was in, and they were raising the rent, and she just decided it wasn't worth the hassle of finding a new place, and she was ready to retire. So unfortunately, she went out of business. So I did go to her closing sale, and I bought a couple of things. I bought this book, Stash Busting with 3-Yard Quilts by Donna Robertson and Fran Morgan, and it has patterns for 8 different quilts in it. And this is the pattern I'm using right now. It's called Crisscross. This is actually 4 rows of blocks, and I am making it, when I make it, I am going to make only 3 rows of blocks, but I'm still going to put a border on it. The reason I'm cutting it down by a row is because it's too wide for my space to hang it. But if I cut it down to 3 rows, it will be just about the perfect size for the space where I'm hanging it. So I do have it started, and now that I have this impromptu vacation, maybe I can get some more progress made on it. So I'll show you. It's pinned together, so you can't get the full effect, but I have them all pinned and ready to be sewn. So the 3 fabrics I'm using are this snowflake one, and then this navy. It's got some modeling to it. It's not solid. And then the 3rd fabric is, I could show it to you right side up, I guess. Although I think it's multi-directional. Has snowmen on it. So it's intended to be a winter wall hanging, not Christmas. I mean, someday I do hope to have a Christmas one to hang there, but for now I'm making this winter one. So I'm working on that. And then I purchased a pattern. I've seen these on the internet several times, and I think that looks useful, but I also feel like that might be in my way. But when I was looking, I noticed that this was on this pattern also, and that they call it an ironing board caddy. They intend for you to hang that over your ironing board. Well, that's not what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to use some of that fabric I showed you earlier. I haven't decided if I'm going to use it for the base or for the pocket. I may use it for the pocket because that's what you're going to really see. Because what I am going to do with this is I am going to take it and lay it this way underneath my sewing machine and have it fall off the right hand side of my sewing table. It looks like it has like 3 pockets, and that's about what I need. I need a pocket for my seam ripper, my little snips, and sometimes maybe one other thing. I just need a spot to put things so they don't roll off my sewing table, which they do all the time. And my sewing table is not very big. And so I don't have a lot of extra space for laying that kind of stuff. So I'm going to make that, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So that's what I've got going on in quilting and sewing. Next up will be paper crafting. Again this year, I am doing a whip go board for paper crafting as well. I don't think I said this before, but I failed miserably on both whip go boards last year. I did not finish either one. But so I have a whip go board here for paper crafting. As you can see, no check marks here, so I have not done anything. This month I am supposed to make 10 Christmas cards and 2 wedding cards. So I really would like to get that done. Love it if I could get it done this week. I did sit down a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and I made a bunch of cards and sent out to some friends. I will show you a picture of those cards here. But that is basically it for paper crafting. So the last couple things to talk about would be reading and goals going into 2025. So reading, let's talk about books. In 2024, I set a Goodreads goal to read 75 books. I read either 92 or 93. I don't know why I can't get that number to be consistent everywhere, but for whatever reason I can't, and I honestly don't care enough to spend time figuring out why one place says 92 and another place says 93. I will put up a graphic that I created in Canva that I did post on Instagram, so if you follow me there, you may have seen this already. That shows the breakdown. I thought it was interesting that I read 12 books in print, 34 ebooks, and 46 audiobooks. I listened to audiobooks for over 539 hours last year. I know that my audiobook listening has dropped significantly since we moved because now I only have a 15-minute drive to work, but I am trying to still make myself listen every day, and I'm still trying to do that because that is the way I get through most of what I read. I did find it very interesting that I read only 12 books in print and that I read 34 ebooks. I do feel that I'm becoming more of an ebook reader just because it is more convenient in terms of, you know, I can easily slip my iPad into my purse or bag, and so I also got a Kindle, an actual basic Kindle for Christmas. I asked for that, and I am really loving that as well. I had a goal to read 5 classics. I did read 5 classics. I had a goal to read 2 nonfiction. I read 12. That surprised me because I don't normally read nonfiction. I had made a list of 24 books I wanted to read in 2024. I called it 24 and 24. I ended up only reading 17 of those. I was quite disappointed in that. So this year I've made 25 and 25, and I've already decided that next year is not going to be 26 and 26. Next year I will stick with 25, and I will probably rename it to Book Go or something. I don't know what I'll name it. I'll just name it something. 25 and 26, I don't know. So here's my 25 and 25 graphic that I have in my planner, and some of these are ones I brought over from last year that I didn't finish, that I didn't end up reading. So I am going to try better to get through these. I mean, that's 2 plus a little more than a book every month that I need to read, and that shouldn't be hard. I am actually listening to Beyond Ivy Walls right now, and as Frank Zappa said, too many books, not enough time, or something like that. It's probably not an exact quote. So in 2025, I'm leaving my Goodreads goal at 75. I do want to try to read 2 classics again this year. I'd like to read 4 nonfiction. And I have identified 5 series where I have read, in most cases, I've read books 1 and 2. There is one in here where I've read book 1, but not book 2 and 3. But 5 series that I need to finish, and I've identified those, and so I would like to finish those series. And so I have that page also in my planner. You can see I've been playing with Canva a lot, and so that kind of leads me into my general miscellaneous goals for 2025. I have been playing with Canva a lot. I know I'm a geek. Here's another, I have like 3 pages of this. Basically what I'm doing here is, these are places for me to put books to watch out for. So I happen to know that this book is coming out in May, and I want to make sure that I'm watching for it because I want to read it. I know I'm a geek. I love that kind of stuff. I've always loved PowerPoint. I actually enjoy the editing process of making these videos. And so playing with something like Canva is like, I could sit and do that all day. So I treated myself this year. Those of you who have followed me on Instagram and know that I put out the monthly reading wrap-ups, I've been doing those in Canva. Well, Canva, you know, like all things, they offer you a free version, but then there are other things that you can't get without paying. There's premium graphics, etc. And sometimes I have paid $1 or $2 to get that premium graphic. What I don't like about it is that you get that graphic and it's for that project only. It's not like you buy that graphic and you add it to your library and you can use it over and over again. If you pay for if you pay for it, then you get unlimited access to all of that extra stuff. So I treated myself this year, and I paid for a year's subscription to Canva. And so I'm going to continue doing the reading wrap-ups. I thought I will take advantage of it and make my planner pages, my extra planner pages that I wanted to make. I will probably use it for work a little bit also. I need to make sure that, I guess in my mind, I'm trying to make sure that I use enough of the premium content to be like at the end of the year, well, I got my money's worth out of it, I guess is my thought. So I would like to master, that's one of my goals for 2025. I would like to master Canva and make the most use of that. I would like to master Instagram, to be honest. I feel like I see people doing a lot of really cool things on Instagram, and I'm like, how did they do that? My frustration with Instagram is that it seems to change every month or 2 months. And so even if I go out and try to find a YouTube video on how to do something, even if I find one, Instagram has changed between the time that video was made and now. And like I go to the menu they tell me to go to and it's not there. So I get frustrated, but I see people doing all sorts of really cool things on Instagram, and I would like to do some of those cool things. So I want to try to become better at using Instagram. And I would also like to become better at being consistent with not only posting on Instagram, but here as well on YouTube. And then actually makes me circle back around to something I was going to share with you in cross stitch that I did not. The other big goal for 2025 is to continue my walking, although I think I'm going to alter the parameters of the challenge. I originally made the challenge to myself to walk a minimum of 1 mile every day for a year. That was in 2022. I succeeded and I exceeded that goal. Today, I haven't walked yet today, but today will be day 1074. So for 1074 days, I have walked a minimum of 1 mile. A lot of times it's more than that. A lot of times it's 2, 3, sometimes even 4 miles. But I have walked a minimum of 1 mile every day for 1074 days. I feel like I would like to mix that up. I want to alter the challenge. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it alone until February 7th, which would be my 3-year walk-iversary. Then I will be able to say I did it for 3 years solid. But I think that I want to change the challenge, basically reword it to say, and I haven't quite figured this out yet, but walk a minimum of a mile or do an equivalent activity, because I have not ridden my bike in a couple of summers, and partially it's because of that, because by the time I would get my walk in, then I don't have time to go for a bike ride. So I would like the option, I would like to alter the challenge to give me a little bit of wiggle room. Like, okay, today I'm not going to go for a walk, but I'm going to go for a 10-mile bike ride. You know, an equivalent activity. So hopefully more on that in the future, but I do want to do that. The other thing I wanted to share with you in cross stitch is I ran across this thing online on Etsy. I do have Notion, and I can use Notion. I'm not an expert in Notion by any means. In fact, there's parts of it that still don't make sense to me, and I struggle with. I've watched Frizzy Lizzie's Stitches videos, and she is very generous and shares her files, and I actually used her files. I created my own, but I used hers as like, okay, so she did this, how did she do that? And then I would go figure it out. I did really good with Notion for quite a while and was putting my data in there, and then I think when we moved I kind of fell off that bandwagon, and I haven't really gotten back to it. And then I ran across this spreadsheet on Etsy that you could buy, and it's by Rainbow Sheets Studio. I will try to put a link to them below. You can purchase this cross stitch tracker spreadsheet from her, and she offers the option. You can either use it in Microsoft 365/Excel, or you can use it in Google Sheets. And I started out using the Excel version, but then I changed, and now I'm doing the Google Sheets version because the Excel version didn't really work very well on my iPad. But this is something that you could use year to year. You would just start a new year. I haven't really figured that part out yet, but she put a lot of work into this spreadsheet, I just have to say. And so right now it's filtering. I have it filtered out to show only the 5 projects that I'm going to work on this month. But I have, like, all those patterns that my son bought me are all in here. They're just marked as not started. I don't know what I hit. So anyway, you know, she has put a lot of thought into this. The other thing is the filter thing doesn't seem to work on the iPad, which is fine. I can go to my computer. But it has this heat chart at the top, which basically shows how much you've done for the month every day. And then each month, and I have them all minimized here, but each month has its own chart like this, and you can go in and you can put how many stitches you did on that project that day. And then one of the tabs here at the bottom, I believe it's the summary tab. The summary tab has yearly summary, monthly stitches by project. So, you know, when I wanted to know if I had reached that 500 goal on pandemic, I could just come here and look. I know enough about Excel to be dangerous. Like, I do use it for work, and I, over the years, have figured out more and more stuff, but this person obviously really knows Excel. And then one of the tabs is a monthly calendar, so it shows you exactly what you worked on each day that you put in. I like Notion, but this, in a way, Notion feels a bit clunky to me. Like, I can't explain it. This is just super simple, but yet intense. And so, I purchased this. I don't think I spent very much money on it, $10, $15. I don't even think I spent that much. Maybe it was on sale. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I will try to put a link to that in the description box below if anyone else is interested in looking into that spreadsheet. I do hope that this turned out better than the version I recorded last night, because it was horrible. And it's 11:11, so I'd really like to get this edited, get some lunch done, and then I do have a couple of things that I need to tackle here, and then I guess I get to spend the next few days stitching. And let's hope that they get the bed bugs taken care of, because ew, yuck. Anyway, I hope everyone is well. I hope that if you're in Michigan, you're staying warm, because it's cold out there right now. We don't have a ton of snow. The ground is covered, but it's not, it's maybe an inch here in mid-Michigan, but it is cold. And so it's a perfect time to snuggle up in a chair with my stitching and my book. And if I don't go outside, I'm okay with that. If you are in the mid-Michigan area, though, also I believe the next Stitchy meetup at Panera Bread on Tittabawassee and Saginaw is this coming Saturday. So if you're in the area and you have time, I think it's from 1 to 5. I'm hoping to possibly make it over there. So that would be fun to see people there. And otherwise, fingers crossed, will be back here with my next update video at the end of February or 1st of March. In the meantime, happy crafting!